Alexander has won at Issus. He has driven the great king of Persia into flight. But the war is not over. Darius still holds power across his empire, and above all, at sea. As long as command of the sea remains in enemy hands, every victory can still be undone. So Alexander makes a surprising decision. He will not chase the king. Not yet. First, he will strip Persia of command of the sea. Ahead of him stands Tyre, an island city guarded by water, high walls, and its own strong, well-armed fleet. To take it, he must attempt something no army has ever dared. And when he succeeds, the war will never be the same. But how do you take a city everyone thinks is impregnable? After the victory at Issus, Alexander has not yet won the war. Darius III is still alive, even after a severe defeat. He is the last recognized Achaemenid great king, who took the throne in 336 BC, and he still rules an empire stretching more than 2,500 miles, from the Aegean to the lands of the Indus. It is a world far larger than Greece. The dynasty had ruled for more than 2 centuries. It began with Cyrus the Great, who in the 6th century BC united the Persians and conquered Lydia and Babylon. Under Darius I, the Achaemenid system reached its full form. The king consolidated the empire, organized it into satrapies, strengthened a road network of more than 1,550 miles, and made it possible for messages and orders to move across the empire in days. Persian rule stretched from the lands of the Indus to the Aegean. After Issus, Persia loses prestige, but not its strength. Satrapies, money, manpower, and immense territorial depth remain. The empire can still field major armies, around 90,000 men, with a powerful cavalry arm. Above all, it still has a naval network based on Phoenicia, Cyprus, and Egypt, able to put roughly 300 to 400 warships to sea. Alexander, by contrast, commands only about 37,000 men in all. This is where Alexander makes a crucial decision. Instead of pursuing Darius immediately toward Babylon, nearly 620 miles away, he turns south along the coast. The choice is strategic. If he marches inland with Tyre, Cyprus, and Egypt still behind him, he leaves Persia in command of the sea, with a power to strike his rear and even reopen the war in Greece. Alexander sees it clearly. Before he can chase the great king, he must strip the empire of its naval bases in the Levant. The first Phoenician cities yield with hardly a fight. Byblos surrenders. Sidon opens its gates, helped by its inhabitants' hostility toward Persian rule. But when Alexander reaches Tyre, he finds something different. Tyre is an island city, separated from the coast by about half a mile of sea, protected by its walls and a fleet that in some reconstructions may have numbered around 70 to 80 warships. Alexander asks to enter the city to sacrifice to Melkart, the Tyrian god whom the Greeks identify with Heracles. It is not just a religious gesture. For Alexander, it means presenting himself as the legitimate ruler before the most powerful city in Phoenicia. The Tyrians refuse. They accept every other request, but not the entry of the Macedonians or Persians inside the walls. From then on, siege is unavoidable. Tyre is unlike any city Alexander has faced. It is a fortified island, cut off from the coast and defended by several thousand men. Its sea-facing walls rise to about 150 feet. For centuries, its strength has come from one fact above all: the sea. For Alexander, however, Tyre is an obstacle he cannot leave behind. If it stays in enemy hands, the Persian fleet keeps a foothold in the heart of the Levant. So he makes a decision that will become legendary. He orders his men to build a mole from the coast to the island. At first, it seems possible. Near the shore, the water is shallow. But the farther the men advance, the deeper it becomes. Near the city, it reaches more than 16 feet. The work turns brutal. Stone, earth, mud, currents, arrows, and attacks from Tyrian ships. In the end, the mole stretches about half a mile, built under the defenders' fire. Tradition says Alexander dreams of Heracles, who takes him by the hand and leads him into Tyre. The seer Aristander interprets the dream. The city will fall, but with difficulty. The prophecy will prove accurate. The Tyrians react at once. They launch a fire ship against the mole, destroying the towers and structures. For a moment, everything seems lost. Alexander persists. He widens the mole and tightens the siege. The balance begins to shift. About 80 Phoenician ships and 120 Cypriot ships go over to his side. From then on, Tyre is besieged by land and sea. During the siege, another offer from Darius arrives: 10,000 talents, one daughter in marriage, and all lands west of the Euphrates. Parmenion says he would accept it if he were Alexander. Alexander replies that he too would accept, if he were Parmenion. The war is no longer just Greek revenge. It is now a struggle for mastery of Asia. After about 7 months of siege, Tyre falls. The capture is brutal. Thousands of defenders are killed. About 30,000 inhabitants are enslaved, and about 2,000 prisoners are crucified along the coast. Strategically, the result is enormous. Alexander has broken one of Persia's principal naval centers for good. Yet the mole does not disappear after the siege ends. Over time, it hardens and changes the city's geography forever. Sea currents begin depositing sand and silt against the structure, strengthening it and widening it through centuries. Tyre, once an island, becomes a peninsula, and remains one to this day.
Did you know that most people who watch our documentaries aren't subscribed yet? If you enjoy animated maps and history, join our community. Leave a like and subscribe so you never miss the next episodes.
After Tyre, Alexander continues south. The Phoenician coast has been broken open, but the road to Egypt is not yet clear. Between him and the Nile still stands Gaza, the last fortress of the southern Levant. Gaza is not just a transit city. It is an important commercial hub set between the Mediterranean, the desert, and the caravan routes to Arabia. It has about 15,000 inhabitants and stands 2.5 miles from the sea, built on an artificial mound about 80 feet above the surrounding ground. This makes it extremely hard to besiege. From below, Macedonian siege engines cannot strike the walls with any real effect. Defending it is Battus, the city's governor. He has gathered supplies, mercenaries, and about 6,000 men, enough to resist for a long time. After Tyre, Alexander finds another city ready to defy him. To take Gaza, he must reshape the ground with major engineering works. He orders siege ramps built around the city to bring towers and engines up to wall height. At Tyre, he had turned sea into land. At Gaza, he must lift the earth up to the city. During the siege, an omen appears. According to tradition, a bird drops a stone near Alexander. The seer Aristander reads the sign. The city will fall, but the king must expose himself to danger. Shortly afterward, Alexander is wounded in the shoulder during the fighting. Despite the resistance, Gaza falls after a very hard siege. The capture is violent. Many defenders are killed, while much of the population, including women and children, is sold into slavery. Governor Battus is captured and punished with extreme, deliberate cruelty. The city is not razed, but the message is clear. Resistance means paying a terrible price. Now the last gate toward Egypt lies fully open. Alexander crosses northern Sinai and reaches Pelusium in about 7 days. The city controls the eastern entrance to the Nile Delta. Whoever passes through it can enter the very heart of Egypt. But Egypt does not prepare for long resistance. The Persian satrap Mazaches sees that the situation has changed. The Levantine coast is lost, Darius is far away, and the Macedonian army stands at the gates. So Egypt is handed over without a major battle. For Alexander, this is a turning point. In Phoenicia and Gaza, he had needed sieges. In Egypt, he enters as a liberator from Persian rule. He does not ravage the country or insult its cults. He does the opposite. He respects them and presents himself as a legitimate ruler. From Pelusium, he moves towards Memphis, the ancient Nile capital. There, he offers sacrifices to Apis and the Egyptian gods. It is a powerful gesture. Alexander does not want to appear as an occupier. He wants to be recognized as Pharaoh, the man replacing the Persians without destroying Egyptian order. Then he looks toward the western Nile Delta, between the Mediterranean and the Lake Mareotis, near the island of Pharos. He identifies the perfect site for founding a new city, Alexandria in Egypt. This is no whim. It is an imperial project. Alexandria is founded to control the sea, the delta, and the trade routes between Egypt, the Mediterranean, and the East. It is at once a naval base, a port, and a political symbol. Tradition preserves a detail. To mark the outline of the future city, the Macedonians use barley because no other suitable material is at hand. The seers interpret the act as an omen of abundance. In this case, history will prove them right. From that line traced in the sand, one of the ancient world's most important cities will rise. Before it lies the island of Pharos. Centuries later, a lighthouse, one of the 7 wonders, will stand there. Alexandria will also become one of the Mediterranean's great centers of learning with its library. It is not merely a city. It is a project meant to endure. And even today, it still bears the young conqueror's name. After founding Alexandria, the young king makes a decision that seems irrational in wartime. Instead of turning back at once toward Darius, he pushes farther west along the coast and then enters the Libyan desert. His destination is the oasis of Siwa, seat of the Oracle of Ammon, the Egyptian god whom the Greeks identify with Zeus. The journey is no simple religious detour. Alexander wants to consult a sanctuary, but also to measure himself against 2 models linked to his own heroic image, Heracles and Perseus. Both, according to tradition, had reached Ammon. If he wants to stand beside them, he must take that road too. But Siwa is not near. From the coast to the oasis, the route crosses hundreds of miles of desert. Heat, sand, thirst, and the risk of losing direction become real enemies. During the march, the army risks losing its way. Some traditions tell of sudden rain saving the march, others of ravens marking the route. The details change, but the meaning remains. Even during the journey, Alexander appears protected by something greater. When he reaches Siwa, he consults the oracle. We do not know exactly what was said. One tradition preserves a detail. The priest addresses him as "my son." Alexander interprets the words as "son of Zeus." What matters here is less what the oracle truly says than what Alexander can make others believe it said. After Siwa, Alexander can present himself differently. In Macedonia, he is king. For the Greeks, he is still the avenger against Persia. In Egypt, he is Pharaoh. But now, after the Oracle of Ammon, his image rises higher still. Not only a ruler by right of conquest, but a man chosen by the gods. When he leaves Egypt, the eastern Mediterranean no longer shields Persia as it once did. Tyre has fallen, Gaza has yielded, Egypt is in his hands. Alexandria has been founded, and Siwa has given his power a new dimension. Now Alexander can turn back east, not merely to pursue Darius, but to seize the empire's heart itself. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. In the next video, we'll see the clash that changes Asia's destiny.